What do you mean, coach? You just beat your Big 12 rival in a game overseas that literally every single college football fan was watching, quite handedly, I might add, to move to 1-0 in the Big 12 conference. You can't possibly be dissatisfied with that, can you? It kind of seems like he might be. Not going to lie to you, Cyclone fans. It sounds like we haven't heard or seen or felt even close to our best game from the Cyclones yet this season. We're talking about today on Locked On Cyclones.
You are Locked On Cyclones, your daily podcast on the Iowa State Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shout out to you for being here every single day, making this your first watch or listen of the day. I appreciate it more than you know. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcasting platform, be sure to hit subscribe so we can prove once and for all that it is, in fact, a Cyclone state. Today, we are talking about Matt Campbell and his thoughts on where this team is, or I think more importantly, where it could be in the first segment. Then we're going to break down a few more comments from both Coach Matt Campbell and John Heacock of the defense, or the defense, if you will, from their thoughts on Dublin, their thoughts maybe moving forward a little bit. But we're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves because that's more for tomorrow. And the reason I say that is our final segment. I want to talk about the Big 12 this upcoming weekend. I think it's really important for Iowa State how the Big 12 performs, especially in the non-conference. So we're going to talk about that before we get to South Dakota tomorrow. Can't wait to dive into all of that, honestly. It's football season. We are in the middle of it. Let's start with Matt Campbell and his thoughts on this team, because I have gone back and forth with, like, how do I word this? I don't think Matt Campbell thinks this team stinks. I don't think he thinks that. I do think, though, that he thinks this might be the best team on the planet, and they just haven't played at their potential yet. Now, we are one game into the season, okay? But I will say, very high-quality game, right? That is some high-quality film right up front in this game for this season. And that's something we haven't talked about this whole offseason. Very interesting angle here. Iowa State now has, like, really high-quality film to start the year, which is that really worth much? I think so. I think at the top of any conference or any really sport, moments, minutes, or not minutes, millimeters, milliseconds matter, right? It's going to come down to Iowa State has this footage, what we've seen from this team from against a very good team for an extra week, as opposed to other teams that are kind of having to scrap together. Okay, well, Kansas played Fresno State, and Derek Johnson of Locked On Jayhawks, I believe, was like, yeah, you beat up on not a great team, right? And so what can you really pull from that film? You can pull stuff, but you didn't play a top tier Big 12 opponent. Just total side tangent there. Just realized that's a really, I think, big advantage for Iowa State here. But that being said, it sounds like Matt Campbell is like, this team can be so much better. This team can be so much better. Like, you just wait and see. Yeah, we beat Kansas State over in Dublin, but we can be so much better. There were a few quotes that I pulled from his press conference this week that pointed me in that direction. There were a couple. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't just one quote. One quote I can live with. That's a little bit of coach speak. Once we start getting into 2, 3 quotes, maybe even 4, like depending on how you kind of angle it, I started to pick up on a little bit of a sequence here. For you Taylor Swift fans out there, it's like these little Easter eggs, right? It's like, I feel like I know what he's thinking a little bit. Now, I am no lip reader, but let's try to dissect this the best we can. One of these quotes saying that, I still think you feel that way through the midpoint of the season. Who are you? What are we about? Like, it's 4 quarters of football. There was some good. There was some bad. There's got to be great growth between week 1 and week 2. Okay. Yes, that is a little bit of coach speak. Like, yeah, we got to get better, right? We don't know exactly who we are. We got to get better every week. Okay. I didn't put a ton of value in that, right? Like, it's just the way he answered the question, pretty standard. This one, though, did kind of stand out to me a little bit. Said it'll take to the midpoint of the season or more to figure out exactly what we are and what we have the ability to be. Now, the reason this one stood out to me was he didn't just say who we are or what we like. What we can do or whatever. Like, the way he said it, he put a lot of emphasis on, like, what we have the ability to be. That's when I was like, what do you mean by that? The way you're saying it, like, you almost like are saying it with like something to prove. Like, we have the ability to be great. Like, the way he said it was the way he was saying, like, we can be the best. Okay. I know, seems like it's a super nuance. Okay. Well, it's not the only quote either. It's not just those two. He also mentioned here, I've got this quote from him: "You have no idea who we are or what we're about." What? that got me fired up. I mean, that right there is that's when I was like, okay, we're getting something. And so I can read you these quotes all day long, but really, to me, this comes across as Matt Campbell saw what the team did over in Dublin, but it's not anywhere near their best game. Like, they are capable of so much more. And if any of you have ever played football in your life, you will remember hearing this from your coach: we haven't played our best football yet. We haven't played our best football yet. We haven't put our best 4 quarters together yet. Like, every coach says that, right? And that does make sense. But the way he's saying this, the way these quotes are being strung together, I genuinely think he's like, look out. Like, we are going to be a force. Yeah, we beat a good team in Kansas State, but we did not play our best game. We absolutely have a long ways to go of like what this team is capable of. Now, you don't want that to come across as like, yeah, we got a long ways to go before we're good. Like, I think he's acknowledging that they are good. Some of these other quotes that he's got in here. But I think it's more so we have so much potential. And that's exactly how I feel about this team. I do think that they played well against Kansas State. It's really hard to tell in an environment like that, in a game like that, how much of it is nerves, how much of it is the atmosphere, how much of it was the rain. Like, there were so many different components to that. It's almost impossible for me to tell what was the cause of what in that first half. In the second half, Iowa State looked unbelievable. Is that what the team is capable of, or is that a part of it? Like, obviously, kind of gave up some tutties in that second half, right? Secondary didn't look as sharp. Well, it kind of was both ways, right? It wasn't just the secondary that didn't look as sharp, but you know what I'm saying. And so I wonder if, when I'm evaluating this, am I putting too much on the front end, on the back end? Am I giving them too much grace on the front end? How did this team really perform? It's a very tough evaluation for me. And I wonder if some of that's going into Campbell. But I think he's seen what this team is capable of on the practice field. I think he's seen what this team is capable of in scrimmages, and that the performance on Saturday just wasn't that good. Like, not that good, but like that good, like the top of the good, right? It wasn't at that level. It was below that. I feel like that's what this team, that's fair. This team played well, but they didn't play great. And I think this team is great. The way that this offseason has gone, the things that people are saying, the way that this is being, just the way that this whole program is being handled. Like, first off, can we like take a second? Iowa State, like, low-key, really kind of almost like football blue blood, right? Like, we're in this as a real contender, which is crazy to think about Iowa State being in this position. If you would have told me this like 10 years ago, I'd be like, what are you talking? Even like maybe more recent than 10 years. But you get what I'm saying. And so I think that this team is absolutely a Big 12 title contender. And I think Matt Campbell thinks the exact same. And he saw good things against Kansas State, but he didn't exactly see the best. What exactly did he see, though? Him and John Heacock had some comments about this game on Saturday, and I thought they were worth mentioning. So we're going to talk about that coming up here right after this. Hey, Cyclone fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, personally, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers do vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Today's episode is also brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. With over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCOLLEGE5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. So I honestly thought Iowa State played really well against Kansas State. Maybe not perfect, but very well. And I think that Matt Campbell and John Heacock both agree with me on that one. And so I circled kind of a few things that both of these coaches said in their pressers this week, as far as positions and specific players to look out for who played well, who could do well the rest of the season. There are a few that I think we just have to talk about, right? Wide receiver, linebacker, probably in there as well. Defensive line, I think, is in there. Those are probably my top three, just from an overview. But I do think that like safety, probably corner, also worth mentioning. Starting with the let's start with the wide receivers, because I think that there are a lot of fans that were surprised with how this game went this last weekend, mostly because of the fact that Sowell and Townsend did not get as big of a lion's share of the targets, of the catches, of the yards, of the touchdowns as I think a lot of people expected. Now, I will be the first to say this whole offseason, I talked a lot about what those two guys are capable of, right? And I think that they are still – I'm not saying that they're not. They absolutely still are capable of doing that. But I think that Matt Campbell said it best with like – some injuries throughout spring ball. We've heard of this. We knew this and such. That there's like a process. It's going to take time for these guys. He is super confident in them, but he's also super confident in the other guys out there. That to me was the best way to put it. There's nothing against Sowell or Townsend. And I think that we have almost like an unreal amount of untapped potential in those two wide receivers. Once we start seeing some end rounds from Townsend, once we start seeing some one-on-one balls to Sowell, just really stretching the field, utilizing that large catch radius, run after the ball or run after the catch ability, I think that this team's going to unlock an extra gear, right? We're going to go from 6, punch it into 7. Like, whoa, turn it up to 11. What do you mean, boss? This must be heaven. You know what I'm saying, though? I think there is another level to it, but that doesn't take anything away either from what the wide receivers Iowa State has out on the field can do. Brett Eskelson, dog. I mean, that guy was balling out there, had 3 receptions for 46 yards. Dominique Overby had 2 receptions for 29 yards. Eli Green, 2 receptions for 17 yards. Now, that's just the wide receivers. We also got Bramer, Burkle, Hansen got a catch, or 2 catches, Ball was spread around. But Eskelson, Green, Overby. I mean, we've heard of these names all camp. Right. We have heard of these guys and I've been pointing out Green, like don't sleep on Green. I know that he was, had the least amount of yards in this game, but he did have a 10-yard catch. And then obviously a 7 because he went 2 for 17. But don't sleep on Green. Like do not, he's going to be a guy. Brett Eskelson. I consistently, and not to say, but we've been talking about this guy like consistently throughout the spring, summer, and fall camp. It was, who's surprised you the most? Brett Eskelson. Who's come in and worked the hardest? Brett Eskelson. Like this guy was getting everyone's attention, and it paid off in this game. So what do I take from this? what I really take from this is we have an extremely deep wide receiver room. Like, we thought Sowell and Townsend were going to be the answer. And if somebody else is the answer and these two still have the ability that I think they do, well, isn't that handy dandy? Like, isn't that perfect? That's exactly what we want. We want high-end talent, top to bottom, similar to the linebacker room. Great pivot point. Linebackers, I thought, played really, really well this weekend. Obviously Matt Campbell talking about they generally play about three or pretty much three the entire game out on the field. But I believe by my count, it was 6 or 7 that saw the field. I'm not going to count them right here in front of you because I promise I can count to at least 8. Okay. You're just going to have to take my word on that one. But they flew around and they were aggressive. And John Heacock also thought that these veterans at linebacker made a big difference. That's something that I thought was going to be a huge part of this game or of this position group was that veteran kind of leadership and their superstar, essentially talent out on the field. We've talked about the guys from last season who got a lot of snaps and are coming back. They have the depth at linebacker, which I think is huge. And I'll talk on that in a second. But John Heacock thought, or I guess I should probably say Coach Heacock, said that, those veteran linebackers kind of helped the team get back on track at times. There were moments where maybe the train was kind of coming off the tracks a little bit. And those veteran linebackers were like, just put Mr. Incredible this thing right back up onto the tracks, keep it going in the right direction. I think that's a super, super underrated part of this defense. Now, as I said, the depth, I think if you can basically hockey line a linebacker group, oh my goodness, look out. Look out. That is going to be a problem for every team in the Big 12. And obviously, Iowa, South Dakota, Arkansas State, the other teams Iowa State will play. And who knows, probably an SEC team at the end of the year when it comes to college football playoff. That is a powerful weapon. That is a powerful, powerful weapon. And really quickly, I'll throw in here, because we haven't really talked about this, the timeout deal with Brzezina. Very interesting. Matt Campbell is not a huge fan of that, but used it as a learning point. Basically saying that this was not a rule designed for Iowa State. You just kind of have to learn from it, move on, understand the circumstances. Let me know what you guys thought of that down below. I thought that was really interesting. I don't necessarily have anything against the rule. I think that the intentions are good. It's just that in situations like this, where a team that obviously doesn't need to have that rule in place gets burned, don't love it, right? And obviously when it's your team, it hurts even more. Let's keep it moving. I think that the safety and corner group is a position that a lot of people are thinking of, especially when it comes to two relatively deep and one specifically very deep touchdowns that they gave up. And John Heacock said that they were kind of a hair off, they're young guys. They'll learn, they'll get better. I want to see it. I do. I want to see it. It's going to take some time. And I do think that game was good to get some really good film. And now we can use the next 3 games as kind of a learning opportunity for Iowa State, get some reps out there against real competition. Because it's not like these are no-name teams, but they're not Big 12 teams, right? If you lose one of these games, it might impact your college football playoff standings, but it won't impact your Big 12 standings. So I think that's a really good opportunity for those corners and John Heacock to coach those guys up. And hopefully we can kind of eliminate those kinds of deep, explosive plays, something I said that Iowa State needs to do if they want to be a Big 12 contender. Excuse me. And then finally at defensive line, Dom Orange, a lot of people talking about his consistency. This guy, Heacock said he pulls guys. He's got 6 hands on him at times, and that forces obviously the line, well, the 6 hands, but forces the line to pay attention to him, which opens up other windows. So next time you're looking at Dom Heacock, not Dom Heacock, Dom Orange or Big Citrus, if you will, his stat line, realize that it is also bigger than just the numbers on the board. It also comes down to what did he do for this defense? Because I think he does a lot, right? He moves the needle. And I also was shocked to see his 34-inch vert on that graphic. Put it out on my Twitter at Nick_Marv. If you're not following, I'm constantly tweeting throughout these games, probably more than I need to be. That was a shocking one. And the world was put on to one of the greatest nicknames in college football, Big Citrus. And I was like, yeah, we knew about Big Citrus. Where have you been? That's the better question. That was a fun one. That was a really fun one. Big Citrus played really well against Kansas State. And I think that there's only good things to come from not only him, but also the entire defensive line. Let's take a look at the entire Big 12 and what they have coming up in just a second. But first, we have a very important request, or I suppose I have a very important request. I'm serious. Locked On wants to hear from you. We have put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. There's a QR code if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, prefer to go to YouTube. I got it right over here for you. Don't worry. I appreciate all of the feedback, guys. You're the best. Let's talk about the entire Big 12 here in a sec. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. Let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why I personally use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw some amazing deals for the Cyclones this season and across the entire board, some of the greatest college football games with ridiculously low prices. I love the zone deals, too. I pick the section. Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster and cheaper and way less stressful, in my opinion. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. You're here with Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You know that. I know that. Why are we talking about the entire Big 12? Why are we talking about teams that haven't played yet? Why are we talking about teams that aren't Iowa State? I think they directly impact Iowa State. Now, it's going to be down the road, but I think that these games all really, really, really matter. Okay, let's talk about some of the games that are coming up this weekend, starting tomorrow. Actually, today, excuse me. I wasn't quite in the right spot. Today, we've got 4 Big 12 games that are going to be very interesting. Okay. We have UCF, Oklahoma State, Houston, and Cincinnati all playing at home. UCF's playing Jacksonville State. Oklahoma State is playing UT Martin. Houston is playing Stephen F. Austin, and Cincinnati is playing Nebraska. Now, I will say UCF, Oklahoma State, and Houston probably not playing the biggest opponents on this one. Okay. But Cincinnati is playing Nebraska. That's a pretty big team, right? It's a Big Ten team. Nebraska not necessarily known for being the best as of late, but I do wonder if under Matt Rule, this is the year where they kind of explode. If they can beat them, if Cincinnati can beat them, and then the rest of the year Nebraska is good, that's a huge win. And now you're probably wondering, like, why do we even care? What is the big deal with this? The better the Big 12 is, the better Iowa State looks, because Iowa State is probably going to win the Big 12. Okay, and probably going to have a lot of wins in the Big 12, even if they don't win the entire conference in the, obviously in the final game. You can win every single game, but if you lose in the Big 12 championship game, you're not a champion, right? That's how it works. But if you were to win every single game, you'd still look pretty good for the college football playoff. So I want these teams to do well, right? Let's look through some of these other games this weekend. Wagner is going to Kansas. Not really one I've got on my big board. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Shout out to them. Hopefully it's a great game. If anyone's watching it, not really one I'm turning my TV for. However, Auburn at Baylor, probably one of the biggest games this whole upcoming weekend. Not maybe the biggest. There are some other quite large ones, Nebraska at Cincinnati, as I mentioned, but this one is big. Auburn, very well-respected program, I feel like, based on my perception of it. I do wonder how much of it is based on the Iron Bowl and my ability to recite that. It's hard. I love that call. It's hard. That's, I think, tainting it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But nonetheless, an SEC team and Baylor with Sawyer Robertson, kind of has something to prove here. Kind of has to show up and show that the Big 12 is really capable of playing against these top tier teams in college football. Now, I'm going to get comments, I'm sure, saying that Auburn isn't that good. Okay, that's fair. You'd have to go watch Locked on Auburn. I don't know it that well because Iowa State isn't playing Auburn, but I do know that SEC Big 12 matchups matter. They matter. Just like I said that Iowa State Miami last season mattered. When you're going cross-conference like this, the Big 12 has to represent, especially against top-tier teams. So Baylor is on my list this weekend for teams that have to win. Georgia Tech is going to Colorado. Another game that's probably worth talking about. If the squad show, you got to catch it. I believe it's coming out later today. I don't have the exact time off the top of my head. Probably, I think it's 5. There was a good point made that if Baylor loses to Auburn, people will talk about it. If Colorado loses to Georgia Tech, probably not something a lot of people are going to talk about. Same way around. If Baylor beats Auburn, a lot of people are going to talk about it. If Colorado beats Georgia Tech, probably not something a lot of people are going to talk about. That's the way that wasn't the exact quote from the squad show. You have to go watch that. I probably butchered it actually, but that's how I feel about it. Baylor Auburn just feels bigger. There are more eyes on that. Colorado Georgia Tech might be a really valuable game down the road, but I don't think it will be as much of a crowd catcher. Not the right words, but you know what I'm saying. I don't think people are going to pay as much attention to that. On Saturday, obviously, Iowa State will play South Dakota. West Virginia's got Robert Morris. Kansas State plays North Dakota. Texas Tech, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Quick shout out if you guys like Woody. Woody, I believe Jeff Woody will be calling Arkansas Pine Bluff, Texas Tech on the ESPN Plus. Just saw that tweet today. Really cool opportunity. BYU's got Portland State at home. Arizona State's got Northern Arizona. Arizona has Hawaii. That's worth something, I suppose. UCLA has Utah at home. The biggest ones to me here, Kansas State, got to beat North Dakota. We need Kansas State to win out. We do. For multiple reasons, be awesome to end the year against them in the Big 12 championship game, but that needs to look like a really high-quality signature win. I don't know how many people will say it was forever ago and the teams are different, but you don't want to just have them stink and it doesn't look like anything, right? So I think Kansas State is a huge one that needs to get a win this weekend. Utah against UCLA. I'm not saying UCLA is no good. I wouldn't say they're at the top of the Big Ten. Still the Big Ten, though. Still a Big Ten team. And one I think that if you can get it on the road, that does look good. Finally, on Monday night, TCU goes to North Carolina. That's a good one. A lot of eyes are going to be on that. That's prime time college football. Bill Belichick, TCU, Josh Hoover. This is very important. And so the big takeaway from this is that this weekend, the Big 12 does have to ball out. Iowa State has to win. And I'm going to say that every single weekend. Iowa State has to win every single one of their games. Partially because I do think that they can, but also because the disrespect, can't really drop that many. So it's is it a must-win game? Are they playing? That, then it's a must-win game a little bit for me. But as far as across the conference, we've got to put on our Big 12 hats this weekend, Cyclone fans. We do. We have to root for the other teams in the Big 12 to make Iowa State look better. If every team in the Big 12 wins all their non-conference games, their records will be better. That's the simplest way I can possibly put it. Would you rather Iowa State beat an 0-3 Arizona State or a 3-0 Arizona State? Right? Obviously, they're not playing on week 4, but my point remains. These top teams, if they lose 2 of their non-conference games, they're immediately now considered not top tier. And then Iowa State's win isn't worth as much over them. So, yes, I am stretching a little bit to say that Iowa State's going to win every single one of these games. I hope they do. I think they can. And if they do this season, we need these teams, the other teams in the Big 12, to win these games because it only inflates the value of Iowa State's wins over them. That's just economics, baby. Supply and demand. as they say. Supply and demand. Pretty sure that also equates to the subscribe button down below. Last I checked, you hitting it helps prove us the Cyclone State, and it's completely free, so you're the best for doing that. Thank you guys for sticking around to this point in the episode. Let me know down below or on, I suppose, Twitter at Nick_Marv what your thoughts are ahead of South Dakota. We'll cover that tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Until next time, Cyclone fans, sign.